I think the possibility of two running backs in the first round is pretty high because not only is Hampton good, but there's a number of guys who could potentially be a third guy who sneaks into the at the end of the first round. I'm a little bit surprised that Hampton is. There seems to be some consensus that he's really close to Jeanty. I think he's really talented. I think he is a potential superstar in the right offense, but I think that he's my third running back. I have TreVeyon Henderson graded just a little bit ahead of him. I think Hampton is not so much a guy who creates for himself. I have some questions about his vision a little bit. So if you put him behind a great offensive line and a productive offense, I think he could put up huge numbers because he clearly has the size and speed to do that. If you're creating lanes for him, he could be a stud. But if you put him on a bad offense, I don't know if he's the type of running back who elevates the running game just by sheer will and just force. I don't think he's quite that type of guy. Whereas I think Jeanty is that type of guy. I think Henderson is almost that type of guy. I have Henderson a little bit ahead of him because I just love his all-around game. I think he can do a little bit of everything. He'll be a weapon in the passing game as well. It's a little bit more explosive than Hampton, and so he's not on Jeanty's level either. But I do like him a little bit more than Hampton because I think he just sort of is the complete package. He has the speed. I think he has the vision as well. He'll contribute in the passing game. His pass protection is pretty good. I think he does a little bit of everything. Whereas Hampton, I have some doubts about his vision, and so for me, that's not the type of player that I would draft in the top 20 picks or so. If I were drafting at the very back end of the first round and I needed a starting running back to plug in, I'm okay with drafting a running back in that situation because you're getting a guy on a reasonable contract to start for you for the next 5 years. I think that the chorus of people who say no running backs in the first round, I think are discounting the fact that if you take them late in the first round, running backs come into the league, and if you get the right guy, they're productive from day one, right? Like this is one of the safest positions to draft if you're drafting someone who legitimately belongs in that conversation. So a team that needs a running back, drafting Hampton in the very late first round and plugging him as a starter right away, I don't have a problem with that, but I do think he's a little bit more dependent on the situation than Jeanty or Henderson probably would be.